And they told me I wasn't going to live.
So here
Any
you
more than
are.
11 months at the most. Oh.
No, you stepped off a ladder. You just straight stepped off this ladder, and your leg broke. Is that right?
Fractured. Yeah.
Fractured.
But we didn't know that's what it was.
And you had pain for how long?
Since that day. Well, it gradually got to where I couldn't sit.
Couldn't sit, couldn't
couldn't
sleep.
stand, and I never cry. And I was starting to tear up after a while, and I was going to, the doctor sent me to physical therapy. I had a fractured leg. Yes.
At what
She
point?
didn't send me off to go get x-rays.
At what point did you finally get those x-rays?
17 weeks later, when I told her I needed to go to another doctor to get a shot.
Okay.
Because it's just getting worse and worse. And then she says, well, you got to go to a specialist. And I'm like, great. So that was another month I had to wait to get in to see somebody. And that's when they came back. They did the x-ray and came back and said I had a tumor in my leg. Operate to fix the break.
And that's when they took the tumor out as well?
You can't take it out.
You can't take it out, okay. Because of the size of it?
You'd have to take my whole bone out.
Okay, so it was in your bone.
So they would fix the fracture, and then I'd have to go to treatments.
Okay, tell me about...
radiation treatments. And then...
Tell me about what went wrong with that first surgery.
First surgery was fine. They put a plate in it, and I think it had a total of like 6 to 8 screws on top and bottom. So it was fractured here. They put a plate there, hold it in place. And then with all the radiation I got afterwards, it had to heal some before I could even get treatment. The radiation, that weakens it more. Anyway, my girlfriend couldn't handle it anymore. Told me I had 30 days to leave. I had nowhere to go. And so from having to move 2 times, and I had to get an apartment, I begged the apartment complex to let me in, and I had a good rapport with them from before, because I didn't have enough money for them to even really let me in. So up in the apartment, I hadn't been there probably close to 6 months. And I spun around in the kitchen and my leg broke again. And it had been in pain the whole time. But I couldn't tell what the pain was from radiation, from the tumor, from the operation. No idea. 2 days later, we went to the emergency room. And so we had to schedule another surgery. This surgery he puts in, takes out the, what do you call it?
The plate.
The plate.
Yeah.
The plate had, well, we went and did x-rays. Then decided we had to go get surgery. But I had broken off the heads of the titanium screws. Yeah. And I was in that pain all that time because of that. And it was broke again. It's just, it was already fractured and broken. I tweaked it. And then realized, wait a minute, something's, this is more than radiation or healing, or from the abrasions or whatever I went through from the first one, right? First surgery. And so this went in for the second surgery. He actually, I guess, trying to get one of the screws out. He's banging one of the screws, and it went into my muscle, broken screw, and it's still there to this day in the back of my leg. Because he said it was like a bullet wound. It was too, it wasn't worth trying to dig it out. It caused more damage. And the pin he put in only secured it at the top, but he didn't secure it at the bottom. So for 2 years, I'm in major pain and still yet don't know if it's from the surgery, not healing from the first surgery, more radiation, which I've had tons of radiation. My femur bone was splintering and my hip was collapsing. This leg was 2 inches shorter than this. But the only way to fix it was to find a different surgeon to do the job right. And he had to remove what was good bone partial hip replacement and take out all this femur bone here. So now it's all titanium through here, and I have a little bone left here above the knee.
Okay.
So that did give part of my height back in this, or length in my leg. I'm 3/4 of an inch. He said we almost made it to where it would. He said he was working on it, but it had been in that position for so long, the muscles shrank, the veins shrank, and that if he would have pulled it any farther, he would have been busting vein vessels. And I still was like, how can we do this? Can we have another surgery to make it my length? He's like, no. Had moved next door here after the second surgery. So 2 weeks after my surgery, moved in here. And this is where I started deteriorating for 2 years. Mentally, physically, leg crumbling. Well, I started noticing that I was walking off.
Okay.
And then I noticed when not only that, I mean constant pain. Pain, I've never not been without pain since that day, fractured in 2012. You know, by this time I'm just whacked out. I'm on a lot of pain medication, had been for years, and then even more so. And they even told people that came to see me in the hospital, if any of you guys were on pain medicine I was on, it would kill them. That's how much I was immune and all that stuff. And then being on the medication and being isolated and feel like you don't have anybody in the world. They didn't understand the pain I was going through. They didn't understand that I needed an advocate. And I'm not so sure I was in my right mind to be able to say that I needed that. But I feel like I really shouldn't have had to. And I said if this kept going on, I'd kill myself because I can't take it anymore. So I'm screaming for help from people, and they didn't understand what I'm going through. I needed an advocate so bad. You know?
Yeah.
And they ended up putting me in the psych center for suicide. I didn't have any intentions on killing myself. I'm saying this is where I'll end up. I know where I'll end up.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't help me. You know? In every aspect of me. My entire being. Body, mind, soul, spirit.
Yeah.
And so the psychiatrist there at the psych center, which isn't the correct name of it, but he says, you don't belong here. And I said, I've been saying that. I need somebody to help me. I need this pain to be fixed, you know? So then my radiation oncologist called me and said, you need to go see this doctor, surgeon. And so I did, and he's at Big Barnes Cancer, Advanced Medicine, and he's the one that fixed me, as far as he could be fixed.
That was surgery number 4.
That was 3.
Oh, that was surgery number 3.
Number 4 was just this last April.
Okay.
So from all the radiation and me doing the job that I was doing, carrying around parts, making minimum wage, 2 of my femoral nerves were totally killed them. So my leg was just atrophy and stiff and swollen, and I was falling on my back. I mean, just falling to the ground. Pain all the time. I would drive an SUV because I couldn't sit down that low, and I couldn't lift my leg to get in the car. But that had been going on since my very last surgery. You know, prior to this nerve surgery, I have to lift my leg and literally put it in the car.
Yeah.
And now we know why. Because those nerves have died. And so over time of me doing what I was doing, whether you were doing anything or not, it just couldn't handle the weight anymore. And I just started falling. 6-hour surgery got me out, and that I've been going through the same shit again. Another cycle of this. And not to mention all the stuff in between. You know, I'd be in remission. 2 years later, it popped back up, back to treatment, out of treatment. 2 years later, it's been an interval around 2 years, pretty close to 2.5.
Are you currently in remission?
I am. So it's been almost 3 years now. Donna had it all fixed to where the girls, and I think there's one boy, she had it all willed. She had all that fixed out a long time ago. But Donna verbally said to Patty, and this is what the oldest, the one that took power of attorney, this is what Patty told me, that she really wanted me to have the house because everybody else was fine and they really didn't want the house anyway.
Yeah.
So
and you were
instead
her
of
best
just-
friend.
Yeah, instead of just selling it to like ugly houses or something.
Yeah.
And Donna also knew all the turmoil I took from Karen. She's a narcissist.
Right. Yeah,
And
you've told me
she's,
some
like,
stories
running
about
my
that.
life.
Yeah.
And I'm a tenant.
I'm glad you're getting out of there, honestly.
Me too.
Yeah. But
she can't
hurt
play the games
you.
with
Right.
me anymore with my own money.
That's right.
Continue to heal and work on this slowly by myself because I know some. What I can't work on, then I'll try to at some point save and get that fixed.
Oh.
And then hopefully at some point, it's Donna's house. I really wouldn't ever want to get rid of it, honestly. But if I could rent it out and maybe help somebody else that may be in a position that I was in at a lower cost.
Yeah.
And then move, I don't want to be in the city anymore.
Yeah. Let's move to the country. Let's
Not
find-
deep in the country.
Just
but
like an hour outside the city. in the
yeah,
woods.
I just, and if I could, that would help me and help the renter.
Yeah.
So, but that's a projection. But right now, she's really saving me.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
So we need $11,100
To pay the house,
to make the house paid off.
completely paid off.
And then the rest is just the money needed for the rehab to make sure house will pass code and, fresh coat of paint, make things safe and make it
I'm in a lot of debt for me to work.
right.
And
Being off work and the medical debt on top of, you still need more medical treatment and are at a point where you just can't really pay for it.
No, and I've been like that before, and at this time I was determined not for this to happen, but here I am again, same cycle.